Coach, you're 2-0 in the region. Just tell me how you plan on maintaining that momentum with tough opponents like Valley and Eufaula coming up. You've had success, obviously, early in the season. How do you keep that going?
Well, the Valley game is going to be much different than the other two, simply because they got a better football team than Booker T. Washington and Tallahassee. That's obvious when you look at film. Of course, Eufaula so far down the line. They're our last region ball game. We hadn't even looked at Eufaula, so we're just taking them one at a time here. But I think in this Valley game, the stuff we've been trying to stress the last 2 weeks of the stuff that we can't continue to do. We turn the ball over too much. I think we played hard in all of our games this year. Our execution has not been great on offense, and that's been one of our biggest deals is to be better executing the ball on the offense side of the ball. But I also think that, what we've done all season, running football, things of that nature is what we got to do in order to win a ball game against anybody we play. We're just not going to be able to change our game plan. We're going to stick with what we're doing, what got us here.
Well, tell me about that. Give me your evaluation of Courtney Downing and Stanley Crawford and how it affects the offense to have a two running back threat, because Crawford really exploded in the second half against Booker T. Washington.
Right.
Propelled you guys.
Right. Well, I think the thing is that we know that both of those guys can play. They're both different. Courtney's more of a Courtney does have a lot of power, but he's also he has more elusiveness in his running style. Stanley's more of a straight ahead guy. I think that Stanley has excelled off of Courtney, and I think that Courtney to some degree has excelled off of being pushed by Stanley. Because you look at the stats, Courtney has a lot more yards. Stanley has a lot of touchdowns. Courtney has made a lot of drove to the end zone. He's cramping or he's got a problem. Courtney Stanley goes in and finishes it off. I think they're both taking advantage of the opportunities. The key with us is, not to turn the football over, to continue doing what we're doing. I mean, I think right now we're well on track offensively in the running game, and we've got to, what we got to do is get our passing game to come up and match our running better. Because every week we're trying to throw for around 100 yards, and we've only topped that one time. So it's just an area of weakness that we got. We got to get better in that area.
How has the performance of your offensive line affected your game planning against teams?
I think that, when you consider all that the offensive line's been through in the offseason, obviously I've said before, I'm not trying to overstate the fact. It's just a fact of life. Rondell Moore was a huge player for us. To lose him, to go back and look at the linemen, we played the game against Borgo without our starting center. That hurt us a lot. But in the meantime, Cody Hill's gotten better, and so has Zay Burton. Both of them guys gotten better. Now we're up to about 7 offensive linemen that can play for us. And they've done a good job as far as picking up stuff all through the season. I think that they just got to continue to get better, continue to work, and I think we're fairly satisfied with where we're at in that particular area.
You have several underclassmen playing defensively. How is them being able to step up in their amount of playing time? I know you had an interception by freshmen in the Pike County football game. Just kind of give me your evaluation of the performance of the defense and where you go from there, helping them grow and come along.
Well, I've been told a long time ago that the more sophomores you play, every sophomore you play, you can chalk up a loss for that. And, we played more sophomores than we could ever lose this year, And if you play a freshman, it just doesn't happen much in this league. Gerard White played for us as a freshman, Rod Burden, Terrell Smith, all great players for us here. And Rich McBride, who's playing for us this year as a true freshman, is a heck of a player. And he does have a pick, but, I think the real key is that our older guys, our steady guys who've been with us for a while, Nathaniel Salmon, Trey Collins and Vandarius Bryant at the cornerbacks are pretty tough ball players for us. Devin Davenport and Hunter Bass, who both played outside linebacker for us this year and who are playing this year. And then, of course, Joey and Anthony, who played a lot last year. I think those guys have been kind of steadying factor around all the younger players we played on. You take last week, at one time in that ball game, we had Quay Mays, Zay Burton, and Sherrod Postel playing for us on the defense front. They're all sophomores. All three of them are sophomores. And you throw in the other guys, the Tadarian Mahan, you throw in Rich McBride, you throw in all those guys. You're throwing in a lot of youth there. But it's just, to us, it just bodes better for the future that those guys are getting that experience now. Because those are the guys we got to get the job done for us.